I have coffee, just made one. Today I'm going to do a quick video about lower thirds. I had this great question. I'm going to have this video up actually just to check my focus. I'm going to keep on bringing that up, so ignore it for now. I had this great question from Tony asking me if I could do an A to Z on lower thirds. There is no lower thirds support as such in OBS, which is unfortunate. So you have to kind of make them yourself. So I've got 3 different ways of doing it. I had 2 different ways, and then Tony sent me this link, which is this on the OBS broadcaster site with animated lower thirds with control panel, which is really interesting, which I'm going to get into. And I did try to get it working, but it is only Windows and I've got a Mac, so I couldn't get it working. But I will show you the steps of how you get it to work in your Windows version of OBS. What tends to happen is the Mac versions of OBS don't get all the features straight away, the new features. I'm not entirely sure why that's the case. I think it's because some of the things fall over and crash on a Mac compared to on PC, so they don't push it out as a full release. They kind of bring them out over time. So anyway, I'm going to do an A to Z of 3 different ways of doing lower thirds. The first way is kind of like a static way, which is to do the layout and then put text over the top of it in OBS. I'm going to do that first, and I'm going to use the styling that Tony wants here with the blue gradient and this like white bit underneath and this greeny blue gradient. And then I'm going to do an animated version of that in Keynote, which is not as customizable because it's a movie. Basically, you're exporting a movie as an overlay and then letting it run on the screen, and then it just like transitions out. And then the third way is to show you this very cool control panel plugin kind of thing that only works with custom docs on Windows. It doesn't work on Mac yet, but when it does work on Mac, I'm not only going to be playing with it, I'm going to be making graphics for it, maybe a little Gumroad pack. Anyway, first thing I'm going to do is jump over into Keynote. Keynote is a free piece of software. I think you can actually get it for PC as well. I think Apple released it for PC as well, but it's mainly a Mac app. But you could do this any app. First thing I'm going to do is go to slide size. So I'm going to do custom slide size 1920 by 1080. That's full HD, right? Inside of OBS, 1920 by 1080. You might be streaming 720. Which is fine. All it'll do is just scale it down on the screen, but you can make that decision now. You can either do 1280 by 720, which is 720p, which most people stream at on Twitch. Just an extra bit, extra 1920 by 1080 actually bumps up the amount of data you're pushing. But I'm going to do it in full HD just to do that. And I'm going to jump back at this and have a quick look at that. So he's got a little, let's just do zoom out, so we can see the whole stage. And then I'm going to collect a shape and I'm going to do a square. And then I'm just going to pull this across. Let's have a quick look at this. Yeah, he wants something like this. So this square, and I'm going to have it like this. And then I'm going to format that to be a gradient fill. And he wants it from green. Let's do this green. It's not going to be the exact green, but it'll be pretty close. That's not the green he wants. Let's say like that. And then we're actually putting the scaling of it. How we're doing this. We're actually moving. Oh, hang on. I'm just changing the one color at a time. Let me come out of this. Yeah, that. And then we want the other color to be that. How can I do an advanced gradient fill? That's what I want. That's what I want. So I want more green near the top. That's kind of similar to what he wants. I mean, I'm just eyeballing it here, but you can play around these tools as much as you want. So let me get a rounded shape. This one's going to be like a white shape. The corners need to be a bit more pronounced. So let me find where are the corners in this? I do forget where here we go, corner radius. That looks pretty good. And then we can put it on the stage because we're going to put a blue bar above it, right? And actually doing it in Keynote like this, static, means that I can animate these pieces straight afterwards as well. So that's pretty good, but I'm going to go a bigger size than that, I think. And I'm going to bring it in a bit more. I'm just kind of eyeballing it here of how much that text is going to be there. Now I could cut the top of that off, but I'm actually going to have this blue bar, so I'm going to take a copy of this, change the color of that. I just did Control and C and Control and V there, by the way. So I'm just taking a copy of it, and then I'm going to style this blue, and then it's a darker blue, isn't it? So let's go for a darker blue. Too dark. Okay, and then this is all the way across, and it has it to kind of there, I believe. I mean, that's not too far off from what it looks like, right? So that's kind of like a static. Actually, I'm going to pull this out so that the rounded bit is off the page a bit. So it's kind of what he wants. A lower third, and then obviously his graphic's going to be at the top here. It might be a little bit big, actually. So I'm going to select it all and just bring it down a little bit like that, right? And then at this stage, what I can do is I can export this as a overlay, or I can do a lot of things with this. Actually, I could do it as an image, I could do it as a movie. So I'm just going to export this as a as an image, export as image as a PNG. I'm just going to say next, and I'm just going to put this into pictures as lower third. Okay, now I'm going to fire up OBS. I'm going to have some coffee while I'm at it. This is something I was playing with the thing that Tony asked me to play with. I was playing around with it, see if I could get it working in OBS, but I couldn't. All right, so I'm going to just create a new scene, overlay. And inside this overlay, I'm just going to grab that lower third picture and just drop it in there. And you can see that because I've sized it at 1920 by 1080, and this is 1920 by 1080, then the overlay looks okay on the screen. Now I could just turn that on and off if I wanted to. Now, the reason why I did it this way instead of just putting the text on it and importing it as text is that I might want to edit it, and I might want to change some of the stuff. So I want to put main title. I'm going to create some text here. I'm just going to put name CEO Mark Robbins. Let's just put that there, right? And I'm not going to bother with fonts too much. I'm going to grab the red bar at the top and just pull that down, and then I'm just going to grab that and put that into here. Right, so the reason why I did it like this is that they are fully editable now. Oh, another thing I should say is it's a good idea to lock the background. That way you can't accidentally grab it and move it around. So I have the text there, and I'm going to kind of, I'm not going to mess around with the text or anything, but I'm going to take a copy of that. I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to right click again and do paste duplicate. Don't do reference, because if you make any changes in the original one, it'll change both of them. So we're going to do a duplicate, and then we're going to rename this to be subtitle. Also, OBS is a weird thing. You press return, it doesn't do it, so you have to click off it to actually get it to save it. Then I'm going to double click in there, head of marketing. Let's just do that, right? And then we don't want it on white, so we need to double click inside it again, select the colors. Obviously this is rough and ready. Just wanted to do a quick A to Z this morning, and as soon as I start doing this, I end up with noise in the background. It's amazing how that happens when you're making video. Alright, so again, I don't know how you style this the way you want, right? I don't use lower thirds like this. I just normally have a piece of text and a graphic and a piece of text, but whatever way you want to do it. Let me jump back quickly and have a look here. So he's only got a small piece of text there. Maybe I do this, right? I'm not going to spend too much time on this. But here's another thing, right? So you could do that. You could go inside of OBS each time and you can update these. You could take a copy of this overlay and create multiple ones for the different people that you've got inside your chat or your live stream. Let me just double check that I'm not out of focus. Put money on that it is out of focus. Unbelievable that we end up with background noise right now, but hey, those are the breaks, right? So that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. That's like a lower third that works. Another thing I wanted to tell you about the text. If we double click on this, there's a great little thing here that says read from file. Now, if you don't want to come into OBS all the time and change these, you can actually create a little text file on your machine, maybe put it on your desktop, and do a read from file. Just be very careful of the amount of characters though, because obviously if you have too many characters, that might go off the end of here and it might look really silly. But one of the nice things about having text files outside of OBS is they're dynamic. So you could just, in the morning, sit at the machine, grab your coffee, double click on those text files, change the names, and it'll update automatically inside of OBS instead of coming inside of OBS. If you're a little bit of a technophobe and you're a bit scared of layers and sources and scenes and all those kind of things, then that's a nice alternative to do it. All right, so we have a, let me just rename this. That's a static overlay. Oh, my bad. Static overlay. So another thing we can do is we can animate this. So I'm going to select this bottom piece here and I'm going to click on animate and I'm going to do an add an effect. So I'm going to do a move in. So I'm going to move in just like that, but I'm going to make it faster. So I'm just going to do half a second. All of this is in this animate tab here on the right hand side. Don't be scared by this stuff. It's really quite easy. It's just 3 tabs: build in, action, and build out. So basically it's do something. When you've done something, do you want to do something else with it, and then fade it out. So kind of, if you think of it like fade it in and do something, have an effect, and then fade out. All of those things you can do effects on. So it's like different. If we click on this bottom button, build order, it shows you the order of events from top to bottom of how you're going through it. So we don't want to start by clicking. We just want to do it as soon as the video starts. So we click on after transition. I do apologize for the background noise. It's one of the things about making video is that you think it's super quiet and then the next minute, noise. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring this in like that, fade in. We're going to also bring this one in. So let's add an effect again. Let's do another move in. And we want that to happen after this build, and we want to delay it by a few little seconds. So if we do a little play, you can see that, and you're probably thinking, well, the white thing is on the stage, so we're going to deal with that now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop that in, I think. So I think what I'll do is I'll put this behind here like that, and I'll probably shrink it down a little. Let me bring it down. This is where it gets a little bit confusing. Let me shrink this down a little bit and just double check where we are with everything. So if we just play. Okay, so I want to bring this down. So I'm going to put this behind here. I'm going to add an effect. I'm going to do, I'm going to move in, right, after this and delay it a little bit. So I'm going to move it in top to bottom. So I need to, that's going to move, I don't want to do that actually. I want to dissolve it in behind it. So that's coming down. Then I'm going to do an action, which is I'm going to move, instead of moving it down, I want to move it across. I want to move it down. So I'm going to grab this and just grab the little red line, and that should be good. So if I click on play, ding, and then it's waiting for a click. So if I click on click, that'll pop down. So I don't want that. I want to speed things up. So I'm going to step through this because that was very confusing. I went really quick and I do apologize. So I'm going across with the bottom rectangle. I'm moving it in from left to right, and I'm using half a second to do that. I think I can go faster on that. The next rectangle, I'm going to move in 40 seconds, 0.40 seconds, so less than 1 second. Then I'm going to do a dissolve. I actually don't need to do the dissolve, but I'm going to be quick on that. And then what's happening is this one moves first, that one moves next. This one dissolves in. I don't necessarily need to do the dissolve. And then after this one has actually come all the way across, then it moves down. And we don't want to do on click, we just want to do after build. So if we just come off this again and do this, if I click that rectangle, then the other rectangle, then the white piece underneath, then it moves down, right? So we're just stepping through the actions. So on it comes down like that. It's a little bit slow, so I think I'm not going to have any delay on it, and this I want it to be much faster. So if I just do this again, cross, bang, like that. Perfect. Now I could, if I wanted to, export this and have it so that export this as a movie, because obviously we need to have animation and movement, so it can't be a PNG, it can't be static, it needs to be a movie. And I could export that now and bring that in and put that on the stage and do what I did before with the text. But actually it's just as easy for me to put text in here and export the whole movie clip. Now the downside to that is that anytime I want to make graphics, I have to come into Keynote to do it. Now it doesn't take long. I've literally thrown this together in like 5 or 10 minutes. But you can put a whole bunch of like titles in here. What did we put on here? We put Mark Robbins. So let's just do main title Mark Robbins. Go back to here. Okay, let me do undo paste, undo move. Let's do paste and match style. That's what I want to do. Okay, and we want to scale that up. Let's do scale like that, and I need to see where the text lies actually. So I'm going to put this across, and then with this I can do animate again, add an effect, and we don't want to do action, we want to do build in, and I want to do a let's do a dissolve like that, and I want to do that after build like that. If I click on play, and then I can do a similar one, just take a copy of this text, and I want to do it kind of smaller. What did I put in the other one? Head of marketing. So I'm going to grab that, head of marketing, and I'm going to do paste and match style. Now I need to be able to see where that text box is, so I click on that to be able to see it, and then I'm just kind of eyeballing it. So you can see it's a little bit of a faff. That's probably a very English English word, faff. Probably a bit of a pain to get it right, and also this text needs to be a different color because it's going to be on white. So if we style that and make it black, I don't want to do that. That's wrong. That's wrong. Let me just undo that. Undo fill setting. I actually want to change the text style, text color, like that. So if I go back to here, I can roughly see that. So I need to come up a little bit that by just using the cursor keys. You can just hit it one arrow up, that moves it a pixel. When you start making these things, you end up doing like lots of pixel pushing. Trust me on that. Animate, dissolve, same again. So if we do play, bang, bang, bang. Bit slow, so I'm gonna change this from that to real quick. The dissolves that I want real quick. Bang, 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 bang. Actually a little bit too slow. So I want the rectangle to come in real quick. Let's just speed everything up. We don't want to be a distraction. Bang, bang. Right? I maybe want to do this text a little bit bigger. Again, you can have heart's content on the design of this. I just wanted to quickly get this out today because I did promise it yesterday and I didn't get around to doing it. So that's pretty good to me. I'm going to do now another thing here is that I would change the background on this to be bright green, and I do that because sometimes when you're exporting stuff you don't get a transparent movie, or I've had a few times where it doesn't do that. We're gonna risk it today. We're gonna take it off and we're gonna do export as movie, and then we're gonna change from the resolution to custom resolution, and we're gonna put in the 1920 1080, but we're gonna click on ProRes 444, and the reason for that is that that should give us a transparent background. If we change this, actually, let me come off this, cancel this, you should get a message to tell you. So I don't want any fill whatsoever, so I'm going to say no fill. You want it blanked out like that on this side. So that's in the format section, because when you do the export, this is where I normally go wrong, because I left a color on it and it doesn't give you the option. But when you go to movie export and do custom, you see now we have got an option underneath that says export with transparent background. You only see this if this background is set to no fill. So that's where sometimes I fall over, and that's why I use that green, because what I do in OBS is then I color code out the green, but sometimes that leaves lines around the edges of your assets, so you got to be careful with that stuff. All right, so I'm just going to call this lower third, and it's going to create a movie for me. Now at this point, that's should be a fairly small file, so it's a 54 meg file. I'm going to create another one now called animated overlay, and I'm going to drag the lower third into there, and you'll see that it I'm just going to lock that to the background, but you'll see it plays out and then disappears. Right, one thing that you need to do here is that you definitely don't want it to loop, and you definitely want to do show nothing when playback ends. And we can also do a close file when inactive, when we're not using it, just it's not in memory anymore. So you can see that this one's static. So if I just go off there and click on it, that's static. That just brings up the overlay, or my animated overlay looks like that. Right, pretty cool, right? And then it'll disappear. You could, in Keynote, if you wanted to, animate all of this to go back out again. So if you wanted to, you could have this whole animated movie, you know, come on the screen for 5 seconds and then use these build outs to actually fade these things, to do everything in reverse that I did on the build in. So all of these build move ins, you would do like move outs. And so you end up with like a video file that, you know, moves stuff in and then waits on, sorry, I didn't mean to hit the mic, moves on in and then stays for 5 seconds and then moves back out again. So that's the two ways that I would do it, is either static or animated. Keynote is free, super easy little piece of animation software. The third final way I wanted to show Mike today, Tony today should I say, keep hitting everything this morning, is this new way which just come out, which is this plugin. Well, it's kind of a plugin, it's a different way of doing things. I think they must have just put in this new feature in version 25 of OBS. I am still in, I'm not blurred out thankfully, in version 25 of OBS. And what's cool about it is that it provides you with a area inside of OBS where you can type a name. So you can put like the name and then who they are as a job role. And you can even have a list of people. So if you're doing a live stream with lots of guests, you can have all of these names ready to go. And you can just click on this. This updates here. And then it updates your browser source, the overlay, onto your video, which is really, really cool. The only problem is this only works with the Windows version of OBS. I have no idea why it's not allowed on the Mac. But on Windows, if you go to View Docs, there is a new custom browser docs inside of the Windows version of OBS. Do a search for doc web browser sources in OBS. The wonderful Stream Geeks will have you covered there for Windows. But that's what basically this is. This is a custom OBS doc. So the way it works is they provide you with a download zip, which is this OBS tools. And it's got 3 folders in it. You can ignore the clock one. That's just an add-on. But it's got some CSS, some fonts, some images, which is just the logo, which is the logo that you see there. a bit of JavaScript, which I didn't even consider using JavaScript inside of OBS. I don't know if you could do it in 24. It might be a new 25 thing. And then you get these two HTML files. So all you're doing really is just setting up a browser source for the overlay, which is this. So this is browser source HTML. So inside of that, this is just HTML and CSS, and there's not a lot of it. So all this does is it calls their style sheet, and then it has this script code in here, which all this is doing is using a new function called broadcast channel. Now, the only thing I could find on broadcast channel was this thing from Mozilla, which is the broadcast channel API. So I'm wondering if OBS are using some kind of version of this, or even just using this kind of methodology. Which, what broadcast channel does is it allows sections of code, well, explains it better, sections of code to interact with this channel. So you might have a window here, and then something happens on here, like you click on here, and that will update all of these different sections. But it uses this API feature called broadcast channel. So what this gentleman's done, which I think is amazing, is you add a custom doc with the lower third control panel, which looks like this. And this is just HTML and CSS, not a lot of it. All you've got here is a list here of all the names. You could just change these to be your own. And then if you click on any of these, you'll see at the top left hand corner, it actually changes the names. Now, when you click on show, if this worked in OBS Windows, the doc, what would happen is on screen, this would update. So all you have to do is this file, this receiver demo, this browser source HTML, inside of OBS, you just provide it. You just provide this browser source to that HTML file. So what's happening in that HTML file is that they've used CSS to push this logo onto the left hand side, and then although we can't see any text right now because this is not working outside of OBS, it relies on that browser channel, broadcast channel code, which obviously doesn't work outside of OBS. But it's opened up a whole bunch of ideas of how I can use OBS in the future when custom docs comes to Mac. So I think this way will be something that the majority of people would want to use, because they might not want to get into Keynote and play around with that, even though I've showed you it to be super easy. I love this idea that I can add a custom doc with HTML and JavaScript in there, jQuery, and I can create a very simple list. So if I'm doing a live stream, which is about an hour long, I can have 5 guests on, and I can have all of my lower thirds ready for those people. I might have a brand new guest or a guest drop out. So obviously I don't want to be getting into Keynote or going into the static scene and changing that. I want to be able to go in here quickly, and I can just type the name and click on show, and it updates that browser source. Very cool. And that might open up a whole bunch of ideas for having assets locally that you can change in and out on your scene interactively. And I can't wait to see custom docs in the Mac. So I can't show you this working because I haven't got a Windows machine or Windows OBS, but it should be fairly straightforward to set up. You only need to do what this guy's done, which is create a scene with a browser a browser source of the control panel. So you just bring up view, this view, docs, custom browser docs, give it a name of lower thirds control panel or control panel, point it to this HTML file, and then it pops up like that as a doc. And then you can dock that inside of your OBS layout. Now, I did try downloading Streamlabs OBS, which just came out for the Mac. And although they do have a dock in there, you can't customize it. It's just the chat for whatever streaming platform you log in at. So I'm really excited to see this when it comes to Mac OBS, the ability to dock certain information. So you can dock like chat from YouTube or Twitch, or have lots of different docs if you want to. Maybe even have a separate screen with 4 or 5 different docs to all of your assets that you need, or up-to-date information that you can share in your stream. So I can't show you that today, but relatively straightforward to do if you have a Windows machine you just add it as a custom doc. This tutorial on YouTube will help you with that. Obviously, I can't make my own tutorial because I don't have it. Add it in the lower thirds control panel, and then inside of OBS, all you have to do is add a browser source. So if I double click on this, plus browser, see there, browser source. I'll just double click on this one, and all I've done is clicked on local file, and I'm using the browser source local file. And then whenever I update anything in here, it automatically updates in here. So I'm very excited to play around with this broadcast channel element, because it means that you can have different sections, different docs talking with other sources inside of OBS. And if you've got a Windows PC and you've got OBS, I'd love for you to play around with it and try it. These should be easy to customize, the logo and the text layout, because this is just an image and this is just CSS. So yes, you need to learn a little bit of CSS, but it's not that difficult. If you see here at the top, you've got common CSS style 001 CSS. If we just click on that, this is what it looks like, and you can see it's all been laid out super nice. So you've got OBS panel, panel input, panel button, and then all you need to do is use a program that allows you to visually see CSS. So one of those would be Coda. I think it's Coda. I'm not online right now, so I can't show you that, but Coda is one that I would use. And so it's really, really simple. You can just position everything that you see on this browser source, which is this receiver demo. So you could change out this logo. If we go into the folder, you can see that the logo is just a logo image inside of images. So you could just replace that and rename it your logo if you wanted to. If you kept it that size, you wouldn't have to mess around with the CSS. You might want to change the text. You can't see it very well, or the under subtitle. But you could really go to town on this. You could actually put like a transparent image behind the back of that if you wanted to, even an animated GIF. So the possibilities with this is endless, really, in terms of what your overlay looks like, and it's all local. It's not going out to the web to do this. It's all like on local HTML files on your machine. So you could even run your own local environment like PHP and do very interesting stuff by pulling data from the web and having it local. So then you don't have any lag or latency from the web. You've got it automatically coming in a different way. So very, very cool stuff. I've yet to play with it, but I will be playing with it as soon as it's available for the Mac. Hopefully that was a good little tutorial. How long was that? 30 minutes. That's not bad. 3 things in 30 minutes. If you want to get this, it is over on OBS, animated lower thirds with control panel. If you do a search for it, that's the URL. I'll put it in the notes. I actually put it into the blog post that I did with this, and I've uploaded this to the Udemy course. I hope that helps. Take care. Bye.